Hello, everyone. We have some pizza right on that wall there. This is QC Coder's Lightning Talks. I'm recording mine. If you don't want yours recorded, that's fine. I can turn it off if you want. Otherwise, I'll just record it and send it to you later, and you can do whatever you want. Since the camera has to be so close in, it's not even getting us anyway, so who knows or cares? So my Lightning Talk is about using AI to build stuff. So this website, Rememble, is a website that I just recently created, the new SaaS project. Basically, I was using Memrise for a long time to try to learn languages. You know, basically flashcards, study cards for languages. They've updated it, so now it's all these video lessons and stuff. You can't really do it in the bathtub. You can't do it on a crowded train because you have to be listening. You can't just... So I'm like, oh, I'm tired of that. I'm gonna make my own software. So I made this app called Rememble, which, say you want to learn Spanish. It teaches you, okay, manzana, apple, casa, house, gato, cat, and then, did I get it right or not? Yes, I got it right. And then it records your progress, and you can basically study from that. I'm also adding other features, like a story mode, where you can read stories in another language. And it will translate words as you read along. So deki koto ga, and as you scroll, it translates the next word. So as you're reading, you'll be able to kind of understand reading something in another language. So that's another feature I'm trying to add. But the secret is that this entire website, all the decks, all the information, the subjects, the flashcards, people can add their own, but it's generated by AI. The website was built having AI tell me how to do it. So rather than just make that website again, I've decided to do something a lot more complicated, and I'm only going to show you like 10, 15 minutes of what I would be doing, and then maybe during your talks I'll keep working on it and see what the output is at the end, to see if I can create an entire SaaS app using AI in just like 2 hours, and I think it's pretty reasonable. So this app is an app that I've wanted to build for a long time. Buildium is a software program, buildium.com, for property managers. Basically, tenants pay your rent online, property owners get maintenance requests through them, but it starts at $58 a month, and I'm sick of fucking paying it. I pay them like $800 a year. So I figure I could just build my own and save $800 a year, maybe get some local property managers to use it, stuff like that. And I think that would be a really cool use case. So what I have is I spent yesterday thinking about the app. So I didn't let the AI do all the thinking for me. A lot of this is generated by the AI, but basically I've created an outline for what I want the app to be. It's going to have management companies, users, owners of properties, tenants, leases, properties, transactions, accounts. It's going to be an entire double entry accounting system built in. Basically all the features that the other programs have will be built into this program. And so I'm going to build it in Ruby on Rails, but I'm going to have the AI build it or tell me what to do. So basically, I wrote all this that says, I'm telling OpenAI's O1 what to do. Don't be lazy, don't forget anything, give me all the commands, etc., etc. So I'm just going to copy kind of this design that I've made so far, and we'll copy the URL as well, and we'll go to chatgpt.com. And we'll switch to the O1 preview, which is the advanced reasoning model, and just tell it what I want to do. Let's see if that's got everything.
Is this the $20 a month ChatGPT?
Yep, this is the $20 a month ChatGPT, so it's the O1 preview. You get 50 free messages a month with the O1 preview, and you can pay with the API for more, but I don't have that, so let's hope I don't need 50 messages.
Tokens or messages?
Messages.
Local file directory in there?
Yep, I put that in there so that it tells me exactly what to do. Okay. So while it's telling me that, I'm going to open the command line and just have that open. And
only 50 per month?
For O1 Preview, because O1 Preview you can see it's thinking through how to create the app. So it's talking about generating Rails application steps, assembling Bootstrap, HTMX. I basically, in this command, told it all the things that I want. I want Bootstrap. I don't want to use Rails's half-baked turbo links. I don't want to use anything that I'm not super familiar with. So what the AI is doing is it's created several iterations of an answer, and it's thinking through that answer and kind of thinking about, okay, what are all the things that I need for a successful program, and how do I do it? So now I'm just going to start doing what it tells me to do. Let's see, we're going to go to my directory. I told it what directory. We're going to create the app, skip TurboLinks, skip Webpack, skip JBuilder, skip Hotwire. So copy that, and it will create the new app. That should take a minute. SQLite 3, skip a bunch of gems that I don't want to use, stuff that will make things a little complicated. And so Rails is creating the app. I'll give it a moment.
Does everything use Bootstrap on Ruby just like everyone else?
No, most people don't, I think, use Bootstrap, but I like it because I started really liking utility classes for CSS, because I realized everything I wrote eventually was just the utility class anyway, so just frickin' put them in there. And you need a little bit of padding at the top and bottom of something, just put py-2. It's so much easier. Use it everywhere. I used to be against it. It's really hard to avoid making a website that just looks like 2020 Bootstrap or 2010 Bootstrap. So you have to kind of customize it and change the colors a lot. All right, so it told me what to do. It generated the Ruby program. We're going to cd into the directory. All right. And so now it's telling me to edit certain things, so I'm actually going to open code. Make life a little easier.
Yeah, I haven't seen Ruby before.
Let's see. We have to open, so we're going to open the application.html.erb. This is an embedded Ruby template. Basically, it's just like PHP. Between the fancy characters, you can put any command you want to, any Ruby command there. So let's see, we're going to install Bootstrap and HTMX.
I saw you had to change chorus too. Somewhere, yeah. I thought.
What was I supposed to change?
Cross-origin site.
Oh yeah, so that stuff, it should be fine. We'll see what happens later. And it wants me to install the Bootstrap JS bundle too. Put that here at the end of the body. If I had a real keyboard, I'd be slightly faster, so I'm sorry. All right.
Everybody loves surfaces. No.
It's funny, I'm slow on any keyboard.
I bought this in Japan, and my other laptop was too big. All right, bcrypt is a gem for passwords, so I just uncommented that. And then now I think I need to do bundle install to install bcrypt. So.
Were you just in Japan?
Yeah, we were just there. I should try to go meet the creator of Ruby and give him a glass of rum or something. All right, so bundle install has installed the gems. So now we're going to generate the different models and controllers. What this does is, you'll see, it generates a whole bunch of frickin' files for each thing.
The guy that runs Lee Digital, Enterprises, that's the money-making part of, the Quad City Times parent. He's a Ruby programmer.
Yeah. Apparently they're like, all the news websites are just WordPress, which is annoying. So we're copying all these generations. These are each table. It really should have just given this to me in the whole block, and if I told it to, it could. Let's make sure I'm not skipping one.
We make a lot of money where I work customizing WordPress, because everybody can use WordPress, but to make it look and do what you want, you have to actually have.
You basically have to program custom PHP for everything.
And CSS,
Yeah.
because everybody knows a Bootstrap site when they see it, except for me. I'm not
Yep.
that good at picking them out, but
I hate it.
you don't like it?
It's like breaking the fourth wall when you're watching a TV show or something. Just, or you hear the Wilhelm scream or whatever. It takes you right out of it. Can't
What
really hear it.
screen?
The Wilhelm
Wilhelm
scream? It's
You-
got,
You'd know it if you heard it.
yeah. It's used. It's a character named Wilhelm in Star Wars, I believe. It's just a common scream that's been used for like 100 years.
I've
in
never
movies.
heard of Wilhelm in Star Wars, and I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
Yeah. I'll bring it up. I think it's when he falls into the Starlight pit. They use it. But
So
since I-
this generator actually is broken because I'm trying to create something called transactions. So I'm going to have to manually edit something there. So
In
the AI can't
SQLite?
do everything yet. Transaction.
Like database transactions?
Yeah, it's a reserved word and it doesn't like that.
Oh,
So we'll put references here
can
manually.
SQLite do transactions? I guess it can,
I think
can't it?
so, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe just about anything.
References, transaction. Let's see, no, this is transaction. That's not what I wanted.
Is that just a variable that you're setting, or?
So these are the database generators.
Okay.
So actually we're working on entries.
Okay, now I
References,
see it.
transaction, null, false,
So
foreign
this
key,
is
true.
like the ORM for the database?
Yes, so this, for example, says create a table for entries. It has to have an account ID, an amount
Oh, it's the actual
is
setup
debit, not
thing.
credit, is transaction. So
So this is Ruby?
yes, this is Ruby on Rails. So all these
Ruby on Rails.
scaffold commands we're doing are Ruby on Rails commands. They basically say, whenever I do that, it creates all these templates. It creates like 30 files for
Wow.
each one of these.
Wow.
And that what you'll see is that it turns out to be magic in the end, but it takes some time. And I also decided to work on a very complicated app as a demonstration. So we'll see kind of how much it can handle.
So it's generating an MVC app then?
Yes. So all these generators are creating like controllers, models, views, stuff like that.
What is did you say MVC?
Yes. So
Model view controller.
I'll show you a little bit about Ruby on Rails app. When I first started, I was learning this in high school, and it was impossible. Why are there so many frickin' directories? What are all these things? Fortunately, so many of them you're not going to need until you want to implement some really advanced feature. Channels are for WebSockets, so if you're somehow live updating things on your website, you could build a channel. Helpers are for just generic helper utility functions, which really I don't write a lot of. JavaScript, if your app consists primarily of JavaScript or if you have special JavaScripts. Jobs for, let's say, someone uploads a picture and you want in the backend to create 3 different sizes of that picture. You could make that a job. Mailers for sending out emails to people, all that fun stuff. But really, you just need controllers, models, and views, which is a little simpler. But for example, accounts, say you were looking for the list of accounts, automatically, just from the commands I've done so far, going to /accounts will render this page and it'll show all the accounts that have been created. So we can even see where we're at so far by typing in Puma, which is a Rails server, and going to localhost. And I have to run the migrations first, so let's open second terminal, and we got to keep following along with the
This
AI
really
for just a
reminds me
second.
of Python to Django.
It's very similar. I think a lot of the frameworks are similar. The
Is
Django
this an IDE you're working in?
Yeah, this is VS Code here. So we've set up the migration, and so let's see if I can open the page yet. All right, so we see Ruby on Rails is working, and for example, any of those things that I wanted to go to, say accounts, all these pages are created already, but they don't have any fancy template or layout, so we got to create that too. Let's see. Actually, don't need this command window anymore. And we'll go back to the AI. So the AI is wanting me to set up these various model associations, which means basically management has all these different things. It has users, owners, tenants, properties. And this is so different property management companies can, be in the software and pay me a fortune for using it.
Question.
Yes.
Sorry, this is my first time ever seeing Ruby. So the less than caret, that is inheriting from application board?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly right. So management is a subclass of application ready record. application.rb. I think that's a Rails class, so I can't access it unless I install a. I don't have the Ruby extension that I probably shouldn't put in here.
Management is a child of that.
Yes.
Ruby, okay.
Yes. So what we're doing is we're just doing what the AI told us. Let's see. A user can have a owner, tenant, optional. Belongs to management, owner, tenant, has secure password, validates email. So the AI is really doing all the thinking, all the, this is stuff I could do, but I'd have to not forget anything. And in theory, the AI will forget less than me.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
So we'll see.
It's nice that it does all that.
We'll see about where we can get to. These are unfortunately the boring parts. Some of the cooler parts would be creating the layout. So I'm hoping I can get to that before we switch to the next person. Property. So what these are is just a model basically represents like a real world thing. So like a unit would be an apartment unit, for example. That's what kind of some of these are. Leases, accounts.
Yeah, that's always hard when you come up with these names. They're going to be mean different things. To
Yep.
people.
All right, lease already has those built in. Transaction.rb. Entries.
Pay the rent.
Payrentnow.com.
Destroy.
Entry.ruby. So an entry is a double entry accounting entry. Belongs to transaction, belongs to account. This is the one I had to add manually. I hope that's not going to be a problem later because transaction might be a somewhat reserved word. But I asked the AI, it said it should be fine. And so I just blindly believe it because that's what we're here to do. Just trust the AI. It will take care of you. As long as you tell it where Sarah Connor is. All right, so the routes. Routes is how it knows, okay, you want something from accounts. This resources accounts will automatically create /index, /show, /edit, /new, all those things for creating accounts, whatever you happen to be needing.
Can I take us just a second to explain something to Bob? Because
Sure.
it was a big mystery to me. Just recently figured out the MVC, the model is like the database definition. Correct me, guys, if I'm wrong, because
Certainly.
I might make a mistake here. The view is how it shows up on the screen once you got to the web page that is rendering it. And the C, the controller, is what takes a web request and says, okay, if I have a /web page name like this, send it to this sub part of the program that will render the view using the model in the database. So I don't know if that explains it a little bit. And so that concept is used in almost any programming language. And they call it MVC.
We're very close to having a full login system already too, I think. Let's see.
And I struggled with it.
Sessions, new.
Still do.
Home controller. Home controller.
I think about coding though, like objects, basically just objects and operators that operate on those
And
objects.
he's using objects and operators within that, but the functions describing what, in a grand scheme of things, what they're doing is the part that they call the MVC, and he's using objects and all that within those.
Okay,
All right, we're creating some seeded objects.
In the system.
pardon me?
It's kind of like just defining roles in the system.
So it's either a model or a viewer, or a view or a controller.
The model would be the shape of the object that you're looking at,
Mhm.
and then the controller is, like Ron said, is accepting the request, figuring out what to do with it.
Yeah.
And then the view is like figuring out how to map the model to the screen.
Were those seeds generated by the AI based on the model it created, or?
Yes, so all those seeds were generated. So there's some sample login information. I have to fix one of the things. Normally I would, because we're short on time, I'm not going to ask the AI how to fix all these things. But normally I would have just pasted, oh, this isn't working. It would tell me to go into this file, tell me to edit these. And what I'm going to do is actually drop
You
the
just forgot the
database.
last line of all those instructions, fix your mistakes.
Yeah, I should have.
That's a
DB
legitimate instruction.
drop.
Yeah.
I might have to do drop
Are you
unsafe.
liking ChatGPT for this so far?
It is incredible, especially with certain complicated things like some Rust things. It can do things that are unbelievable.
Because I'm working with internal project for Copilot, which is basically ChatGPT rebranded. And it's $20. That's $30 per user for a business 365 license, and $20 per user if you're like on a family or personal Microsoft 365 license. You have to have a 365 license first.
One thing, eventually I'm going to add an AI integration so that for doing all your accounting, you can just paste in your bank statement and the AI will figure it out.
For this app?
So you're going to call the ChatGPT API.
Basically, yeah, an OpenAI call. Let's see, where am I
I've
adding
been playing
this?
with that a little bit with Postman. It seems like it works pretty well.
I've invented quite a lot of software entirely from ChatGPT. Let's see. Well, I guess it's invented it, technically.
Actually, programmers like that are sitting around this table invented it because ChatGPT scanned all of it from the internet.
That's true, that's true.
Yeah.
Let's see, do we have bank account
Aggregated
number?
everybody's
We do
work.
have those. All right, some of the things it's telling me to do are like check that these exist, but we added them at the beginning. I think what it was is in my instructions I talked about maybe having these separate, and so it's telling me check those exist. It wants me to adjust the application layout, so let's see. It's told me to create a nav here. I wonder if it's going to look nice or not. And then where's that yield? Okay, there it is. So we'll go to application layout in the body, put that here, right where it wants it. Will not yield twice. And let's see, ledgers controller. It's telling me to do a lot of shit. So ledgers controller wants me to authorize. We'll copy this, that's fine. Close a bit of this. Start the server. All right, so we'll see. I think the next two steps will be kind of interesting to see what it can do for the home page and the layout. Login pass, thanks a lot. So now what I'll do is paste the routes and paste the error message into ChatGPT. Because I don't want to do any thinking, I'm really drunk. That's how I normally program.
That's why you have a Tesla, right?
Exactly, exactly. Fix, and pasted the error. Let's see if it can fix it.
I think,
So you said your initial instructions that you pasted in the first
I
time
think
was
that's-
based on AI, and then you just kind of.
Parts of it, because I asked the AI, oh, what things am I forgetting? What else should I put in here, etc.
that's the first time I've ever seen a computer come back, say, thinking.
Thinking. It's thinking.
That's a little arrogant on,
Yeah.
on the software
It
part.
thinks it's thinking. All right, so we'll update the routes. I'm just going to let it trust its output. Let's see if that was enough. Okay, you must be logged in to access this page, which is great. Define name routes. It's okay. So now it's telling me what it did because it felt like it did not reply long enough. So it's like, hey, here's all these things that I totally did. So
Use corrective verbs.
Yeah.
HTTP.
now I need you to change the home page to show a prettier home page. Use Bootstrap add lots of full width marketing sections for if they're not logged in. Basically create a non-logged in salesy version of the homepage and make it so if they are not logged in, will show this. I'm not even typing correctly. We'll figure it out. It'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Will is a little,
Well,
got an extra H in there.
Three extra
The
H's.
people from Anthropic, they did a presentation on how, things have changed where people try to use analogies for prompting, and it's like
Yeah.
models have advanced so much, so you're actually hurting your output by using analogies. Just
Yeah.
tell it what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
And the spelling doesn't matter,
Yeah.
is what their presentation was. Because it used to be that you'd have to give an example to the generator to like.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna
It was
update
too
the
stupid
home
to understand
controller.
otherwise, right?
Right.
All right, okay, that's all you want in there. Copy that. Home controller. Just trust the AI, hope it doesn't fuck it up. Modify the index view, copy that. Home index. Again, still just doing what the AI tells me. Design the marketing homepage. So we'll create app views home marketing homepage. There's probably a way to do this without my mouse, but marketing homepage.html.erb. Paste that in there. Let's see. Include Bootstrap icons. Update application head. Bootstrap CSS. Bootstrap icon. Okay, so this is the new part.
So much that reminds me of
Application. This here is just straight HTML because this is just the template. It's nice because you just need to know HTML to write most things. All right, what does the AI say to do next? Create dashboard partials. So let's copy this name, new file. Just put in whatever it tells me to. Eventually, the AI will be able to do all this typing and stuff for you too, but currently I don't quite trust it to be that smart. Dashboard owner. So it's giving me the opportunity to design different dashboards for each different type of user, because we're going to have owners, tenants, etc. Now,
Pretty nice.
wants me to update the navigation bar.
Pizza for lunch.
And it was pepperoni.
Optional enhancements. I'll skip those optional enhancements and instead, because it's trying to make me think and I don't want to think, that's very important that I don't. So I'm going to just take the entire application HTML, help me add the navigation into the application.html.erb file. Please also add a nice footer and other things. Be very super modern and nice as possible, which means nice paddings and larger font. So we'll just give it that and then make it do the thinking, because I don't want to think. It's like, put this where the nav is. I'm like, well, here's just the file. You put it where the nav
Ruby's
is.
interpreted, right? So you have a
Yeah.
full debugger in VS Code.
Yes, and actually you have a full debugger when an error pops up. So like if this page had an error, there'd be a debugger at the bottom that you could just type into. It's crazy. But we're going to let it create the design, and then we'll see what the design of the website looks like, and then we'll feel like we have like more of an app at that point.
And Ruby's not a typed language, I assume.
Nope. And I don't even think you can type it. It's so reflective. And I like Rust. I love typed languages for stuff where you don't have the luxury of fucking up. All right, we'll just copy that into the application layout.
I see people have trouble putting out code in typed languages all the time. I don't know that it's easier. I know that there's probably some opinions here in this room, but
All right, so it is missing
Overrated
a path.
It's overrated?
types.
Types. Don't you TypeScript?
Yeah, I do. I'm just not that serious about it anymore.
Makes sense. When you,
When you say typed, you mean strongly typed languages.
Right.
yeah.
I prefer to just write everything in JavaScript.
All right, let's see. Add routes to my
I don't
routes.
get a lot of value out of it anymore. I spend a lot of time making classes and adjusting classes and that sort of stuff. It's like, I don't know, I'm smart enough to not make those mistakes. And that's just me working on my own personal stuff. And if I'm working in a team, then I'd probably have a different opinion, but still, I don't know.
I think it's hard for a language that's not typed, it's hard to unmuddle that spaghetti if it's muddled.
Yeah.
but eventually,
You know, what, is this an integer, is it a character, is it a string? I mean,
it doesn't matter.
it does if it's broken or needs to be modified, it sure as hell does.
Write it correctly the first time and you don't have this problem.
Okay, and now comes 3 months later, you're gone.
I know.
All right,
It's time
so
to change the code.
No, I know it.
here's a clearly, 2010 bootstrap version of Leasist with features, pricing, contact, login. So what I'll do now
It
is,
runs though.
Testimonials even?
yeah, of course, Mike D from MD Management, LT Realty, SK Properties. I've got a logo generated by ChatGPT that I'll stick in here, and I'll work on some of the functionality.
Are those real quotes or are those made up?
They're all made up by the AI to
Oh,
sound
okay.
as real as possible. So I'll keep working on this, and then the next person can give their talk, and I'll see how far I can get into creating a $300 billion a year company from AI and no work. So.
Well, you definitely can make money by providing services efficiently.
It'll be amazing.
All right, so
Lopez is close.
so I wasted way too much of that time trying to deploy,
that
and I'm
Lopez
getting
is
some
close.
stupid, annoying
Not
errors.
downtown.
Down there?
Yeah, right that way.
New York style, right? Lopez is?
The problem with their tomato sauce is it's too watery. So Lopez has got the thinness of New York style pizza, but their tomato sauce is runny and watery.
Okay.
So I don't, I'll occasionally get Lopez, but
So I
it's
bought.
also very overpriced.
I bought Leasys.com in advance and prepared to maybe deploy it today. I'm getting a bunch of stupid errors. I'm sure the AI will tell me how to fix them. But like you can add new owners, you can add property, things like that. And I'll keep working on this in the next few days and kind of see how far I get in it, unless I get bored or focus on another project, and see if I can turn this into a thing that'll make $800 a month. You see, like this owner, John Doe, would be the person that gets paid out, after the tenants pay their things and we pay all their bills for them. Tenants would have access to units, etc., etc. But I was trying to get it all deployed, but that was more than an hour of that time that I was dicking around. But to show you an example of something AI can do. All right. This is one of my bank accounts. This is my Citi personal double cash card. Actually, this is the wrong account. Hold on. Accounts. I need the Citi business card. So this is my Citi business credit card. And let's see if you logged me out already. You did. Thanks a lot. All right, so we're going to log into Citibank. And basically, this is my version of QuickBooks. I built it myself. And this is one of my credit cards. So how do I get the transactions from my credit card into my QuickBooks? Well, I wrote this little function, import text. And my mom used to do this. She still does it. She still gets paid $400 a month, but she used to do this without AI. She would manually enter, okay, Namecheap.com, $11.46, and she'd have to add the transaction and add all the details. But instead, Now we can just copy these transactions.
Fiverr.
Fiverr, that's where the big bucks are at.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
it's
for making web pages, right?
$8.28 now. That's not $5.
You can commission art. You can do all sorts of stuff on there.
I buy back links and shit like that.
Like you say, oh, can you make me a logo for this or whatever? And
Oh,
someone will make it for you.
So there's a little spinner
Graphics
here.
work.
But basically, I told the AI, I just copied that big block of text, and I'm like, hey, figure out what the fucking transactions are. And then it created these forms so that I can be like, okay, yep. And then sometimes it's supposed to categorize them too. I'm actually quite surprised it didn't. But I'd be like, various business expenses.
My new credit union is doing that.
Advertising, yeah. And then you click create and it would be added here. But my mom previously had to type in Namecheap, type the amount, add the date, all that stuff manually. And we had a way to import from some structured data, like I had a special import just for Green State, but cities, their data was always so fucked up. But now the AI just instantly sorts it for me. So I just paste it in there and what probably would have taken her an hour, now it takes 15 minutes.
Try this.
Yeah, it's nice. If you want, you could use it to like convert it to a CSV file to import into QuickBooks or whatever you use. But it really saves a lot of time.
So Copilot Pro that we're starting to use at Twin State embeds within Excel and Word, and you can just tell it that data, and it can just by words or by typing the instructions like you do to ChatGPT,
Yeah,
can reformat it too. I don't know if you have a chance to play with it, you might want to.
the Copilot
I
Pro.
want to try that.
I have Copilot, the paid version. I'm an open source dev, so I get it free because I have, I think it's GeoKit. Yeah, if you have any open source repo, and there might be some like minimum number of users or something, but I'm one of the devs on GeoKit. 4 months ago, I haven't done shit. But like, there was a time where I'm like, this gym has not been updated in 3 years. I emailed some guy from his personal website. I'm like, give me access, and he's like, okay. And so now I have access to this, and this is for in Ruby if like you have an address, you can get the latitude and longitude, you can calculate the distance from another address, and I actually use that on my website upcomingcons.com, and look, it guessed that we're somewhere in Iowa. I didn't tell it this, it doesn't know that from me, just from the IP address that we're at. It's like, oh look, these are the nearby anime conventions,
Yeah, but
Wisconsin,
at least
Illinois.
There's something in Wisconsin.
Well, yeah, it's like 100 miles. These are anime conventions. There's not that many. So look,
Okay.
Waukegan's pretty
Yeah.
sketchy.
Wisconsin, Illinois.
Sister was born there.
These are basically the closest anime conventions to us. Ottumwa, Iowa.
I think Geneva, I think, is north of Six Flags.
Yep, I think so. But most places in the country will have like 20 anime conventions within 6-hour drive. So this will just show you the nearest in like a 2-hour drive.
Okay.
And so that's what I use that for.